Ukraine has been allowed to strike deep into Russian territory with Western weapons, reports Defense Express. Military expert and Defense Express editor-in-chief Oleg Katkov explained that despite the lifting of restrictions on using Western weapons for deep strikes inside Russia, Ukraine only has its own systems capable of hitting targets up to 2,500 kilometers away. Today, the General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces reported that yesterday the Defense Forces delivered a precision strike on the command point of a Russian army unit near the settlement of Novoivanivka. And when we talk about lifting the ban on strikes on enemy territory, it refers to inhumane conditions. Our partners had prohibited us from hitting Russian territory. I've never heard of our partners prohibiting Russia from striking Ukrainian territory. These were inhumane conditions for defending our sovereignty and land. These restrictions should have been lifted from the very beginning. They should never have existed. It was simply unfair to conduct combat operations against an adversary with superior capabilities under such restrictions, Katkov said. The expert noted that Ukraine only has domestically produced long-range systems capable of striking targets in Russia at distances up to 2,500 kilometers. The situation with the restrictions on using Western weapons for strikes on Russian territory has indeed changed for the better. Previously, we were completely prohibited from carrying out such strikes. Now, we are operating without restrictions not only in the Kursk region, but across all of Russia. However, the issue remains with the range of these strikes. Russia has the means to strike deep into all of Ukraine's territory. We only have our own systems, with a strike range of up to 2,500 kilometers. It's important to note that we're talking about drones, not missiles. In other words, we don't have Western-made systems capable of striking at such distances, he added. On February 2nd to 3rd, Ukraine struck Russian oil and gas facilities, including an oil refinery in Volgograd and an Astrakhan gas plant. Both were hit, causing fires and significant damage to key processing units. Ghost Rider, Russian edition.
Вот наш Урал, блядь, пиздец, нахуй. Полная жопа, нахуй, очко, блядь. Ёбаный в рот, блядь, вместе с... Блядь, пацаны, не знаю, двери открыты, неизвестно, блядь. Жопа. Да, одна. Ёбаный в рот, блядь.
The 5th Separate Assault Brigade repelled a Russian assault near Pokrovsk. As of February 4th, 2025, Russian forces are intensifying their offensive against the eastern Ukrainian city of Pokrovsk, a critical logistical hub in the Donetsk region. Recent reports indicate that Ukrainian troops are facing significant challenges, including shortages of infantry and attacks on supply routes by Russian drones. Russian forces have shifted tactics, focusing on flanking maneuvers to encircle the city, which has placed key supply routes under threat. Adverse weather conditions, such as heavy fog, have further complicated Ukrainian defensive efforts by hindering drone surveillance. The civilian population in Pokrovsk has dramatically decreased from 60,000 to approximately 7,000 due to ongoing hostilities. Authorities are actively urging remaining residents to evacuate for their safety. The situation in Pokrovsk remains critical, with Ukrainian forces striving to hold their positions against the advancing Russian military. The Ukrainian ambassador to Latvia was presented the production of the first batch of Patria 6x6 armored personnel carriers intended for the Ukrainian Defense Forces. It is noted that on February 3rd, Ambassador of Ukraine to Latvia, Anatoly Kutsevol, paid a working visit to the city of Valmiera, where he met with Mayor Janis Bikes, MP and chairman of the Group for Promoting Cooperation with the Verkhovna Rada of Ukraine, Janis Skrastins, and Executive Director of the Defense Partnership of Latvia LLC. During the visit, the ambassador familiarized himself with the production of the first batch of Patria 6x6 armored personnel carriers. Back in early September, it was reported that the Latvian government was preparing military assistance to Ukraine for 2025, which includes the supply of Patria armored personnel carriers, drones, and training for soldiers. The exact number of combat vehicles planned for delivery is currently unknown. It can be assumed that the production of armored personnel carriers for the Ukrainian Defense Forces is part of an additional order for armored personnel carriers that Patria received in November. Therefore, it is likely that Ukraine will receive the combat vehicles in the command and control version. The additional order is part of the International Common Armored Vehicle System program, which currently involves Finland, Latvia, Sweden, and Germany. The purchase of Patria armored personnel carriers under the CAVS program is partially funded by the European Union. The Patria 6x6 is a modern multi-purpose armored personnel carrier developed by the Finnish company Patria. Thanks to a powerful engine and independent suspension of each wheel, the armored vehicle is able to overcome rough terrain, water obstacles, and move at high speeds on the highway. The combat vehicle can reach speeds of up to 100 kilometers per hour on roads and has a range of up to 700 kilometers. The crew is protected by modern armor that meets STANAG 4569 standards and can withstand small arms fire, shell fragments, and mine explosions. In addition, the armored personnel carrier can be equipped with additional mounted protection. The Patria 6x6 has a roomy landing compartment that can accommodate up to 10 soldiers. Due to its flexible modular design, it can be equipped with various types of weapons, including 12.7mm machine guns, grenade launchers, or combat modules with heavy weapons. If we end this war now, some kind of a frozen conflict, a ceasefire, it will give Russia the possibility to mobilize more funds, people, and maybe to attack another country in Europe. Prime Minister of Denmark, Mette Frederiksen.
I don't think we should panic, but I think we are in a hurry. And I think we have been in a hurry for 3 years, but now we really have to scale up and to speed up because Russia and Putin is not only threatening Ukraine, but all of us. And we have to be able to defend ourselves. My idea about Ukraine is the same as it has been now for 3 years, that they have to win this war. And if we allow Russia to win the war, I'm sorry to say it directly to all of you, he will continue and they will continue. And maybe we will even give them a better situation than today, because if we end this war now with some kind of a frozen conflict, a ceasefire, it will give Russia the possibility to return to Russia, to mobilize more funds, people, and maybe to attack another country in Europe.